Hey everyone, welcome back. Before we start, grab a coffee and get comfortable because today's story really stayed with me. It's about a man named Arthur and what happens when you give someone everything you have and it still isn't enough in the end. Quick thing before we begin, this channel's been going through a hard time lately, and honestly, every like and comment really helps keep it going. So if this one moves you, just drop a like or leave a word below. It means more than you know. All right, let's get into it.
I took care of my mother for 8 years. She left everything to my brother. It took the lawyer 4 minutes to read the will. I know because I looked at the clock on her office wall when she started, and I looked at it again when she folded the paper back up. 4 minutes. I gave my mother 8 years. My name is Arthur Fontenot. I'm 53 years old, and I've lived my whole life in Lafourche Parish, Louisiana, just south of Thibodaux, where the bayou runs slow and brown behind the houses and the heat sits on you like a wet blanket from April to October. I'm a maintenance electrician. I fix things, breaker panels, motors, whatever's broke down at the sugar mill. My hands have been dirty since I was 19. I tell you that so you understand what kind of man I am. I'm not a talker. I'm not the one who tells the good stories at the crawfish boil. That was always Carl. Carl is my little brother, 3 years younger than me, and he came out of the womb charming. I mean that. Our daddy Raymond died of a heart attack when I was 16 and Carl was 13. Dropped right there in the driveway on a Sunday morning, putting oil in the truck. And after that, it was just the three of us. Mama, me, and Carl. And even then, grieving, 13 years old at the funeral in his little clip-on tie, Carl had a way of making people feel like the sun came out when he walked in a room. Me, I just kept the lights on. I got a job, I helped Mama with the bills, Carl got the smiles. Our mother's name was Cynthia Marie Fontenot. She worked as a nurse's aide at Thibodaux Regional for almost 30 years, wiping other people's mamas and daddies, turning them so they wouldn't get bed sores. There's a bitterness in that I can't get past, even now. She spent her whole life taking care of the sick, and when it was her turn, only one of her boys showed up. And it wasn't the one she loved best. Let me back up. I don't want to make her sound like a bad mother. She wasn't. She was a good woman. She made a red beans and rice on Mondays that people in this parish still talk about. She kept community coffee going on the stove all day, that dark roast with the chicory, and the whole house smelled like it. She never missed Mass at Sacred Heart. But there was always a tilt to her, if you know what I mean. A lean, and it leaned toward Carl. When Carl made honor roll one time, she framed it. When I made honor roll every semester, she said, "Well, that's just Arthur." That's just Arthur. I heard that my whole life, like I was weather, like I was something you could count on, the way you count on the sun coming up, so you don't ever have to say thank you to it. Carl left after high school. Went to Houston, got into car sales, then medical sales, driving a Lexus by 30, big house out in one of them subdivisions with a gate. He married a woman named Brittany, divorced her, married another one. He'd call Mama on Sundays sometimes, and she'd hold that phone like it was made of gold. Carl called, she'd tell everybody at church. Carl's doing so good. I stayed. I married my Denise, right here in Thibodaux, bought a little house not 2 miles from Mama. We didn't have the gate or the Lexus, but we had Sunday dinners with my mother every single week for 20 years, and I don't regret a one of them. Then came the stroke. It was a Tuesday in September, hurricane season, the air thick enough to chew. Mama was 68. She was standing at her stove making a roux, of all things, and the wooden spoon just fell out of her hand, and she went down against the cabinets. A neighbor heard her and called it in. By the time I got to the hospital, they'd already told me the left side of her body wasn't coming all the way back. I called Carl. He was real upset on the phone, cried even. Said he'd fly in that weekend. And he did. He came in Friday night, brought her flowers and a stuffed bear from the airport gift shop, sat by her bed and held her good hand and made her laugh. And she looked at him like he'd hung the moon. He stayed till Sunday afternoon. Then he had a sales conference in Dallas. And that was the shape of the next 8 years, right there. Carl came in for the flowers and the photographs. I came in for everything else. I want to tell you what everything else means because people say, I took care of my mother, like it's one thing, like it's a sentence. It isn't. It's 10,000 things. It's learning how to run a Hoyer lift so you can move a grown woman from the bed to the chair without dropping her. It's the hospital bed we put in the front room where the good couch used to be, so the whole living room smelled like a nursing home. It's adult briefs. There, I said it. I changed my mother's briefs, and the first time I did it, we both cried. Her from the shame, and me from watching her be ashamed. It's crushing her pills into applesauce because she couldn't swallow them whole. Amlodipine, metformin, the blood thinners, a little cup of them every morning and every night, and God help you if you got the times wrong. It's the second stroke, 2 years in, that took her words for a while and brought them back scrambled. It's the dementia that crept in after, the vascular kind, slow, so that some days she was my mama and some days she called me Raymond. Thought I was my dead father. Thought it was 1985. Denise helped in the beginning, but 8 years is a long time. There's no way to say this that doesn't sound cold, but 8 years of a marriage where every conversation is about your mother's bowels and your mother's doctors and who's sitting with your mother Saturday. It wears the wood down to nothing. We didn't have a big blow up. We just got quiet. We sleep in the same bed and don't touch. That's part of what it cost me. Nobody ever put that on a list. The state sent an aide twice a week, 2 hours at a time, and I want to say I'm grateful, but 2 hours doesn't cover a life. I took the night shift at the mill for 6 years just so I could be home in the day with her, which meant I slept 3-4 hours at a clip, on the recliner, one ear open for her calling out. I don't think I've had a full night's sleep since Obama's first term. I'm not exaggerating that. And here's the thing that'll make you laugh, if you're the laughing kind. Everybody thought Carl was the hero. I swear to God. He'd come down for Christmas, one glorious weekend a year, bring her a cashmere robe, take 100 pictures, post them online. Home with my angel, cherish every minute. And the ladies at Sacred Heart would stop me in the vestibule and say, your brother Carl, he's just so devoted to your mama. And I'd say, yes, ma'am. Because what are you going to say? That you were up at 3 a.m. with her while Carl was asleep in a hotel in Houston? Nobody wants to hear that at church.
I got to stop right here for a second because this part gets to me every time. The one who shows up once a year gets called the hero. And the guy who's there every single night, wiping her mouth, losing sleep for years, nobody even sees him. And I know somebody watching this has lived exactly that. Be honest with me in the comments. Are you the Arthur in your family? I really want to know.
Carl called her every Sunday. I'll give him that. 20 minutes. She lived for those 20 minutes. Some weeks near the end, when she didn't know my face, she still knew his voice on that phone. She never once, in 8 years, thanked me. I need you to understand I'm not saying that to be pitiful. I didn't do it for thanks. I did it because she was my mother and there was nobody else. But there's a certain kind of loneliness in giving your whole self to a person who looks straight through you to somebody else. She passed on a Wednesday morning this past February, in her sleep, in that hospital bed in the front room with me holding her hand. I'd fed her breakfast an hour before, cream of wheat with a little sugar, the way she liked it. Then she just went quiet, and I knew. I sat with her a long time before I called anybody. Just me and her and the coffee smell and the TV on low. Wheel of Fortune reruns. She always did love Vanna White. I called Carl. He flew in for the funeral. Gave a beautiful eulogy at Sacred Heart. Had the whole church weeping. Talked about her rue and her rosary and how she taught him to be a man. Folks came up to him after and just held on to him. A cousin of ours told me, Carl loved that woman more than anything. And I stood there in my one suit that don't fit right anymore, and I nodded. Because it was her funeral, and it wasn't the day. The will was read the next week. She'd used the lawyer over in Thibodeau, a Miss Landry, older woman, kind eyes. We sat in her office, Carl and me, and she read it out. The house I grew up in, The house I moved my own life into to keep our mother in it went to Carl. The savings, what little there was, maybe 40,000 from the sale of some land Daddy left, went to Carl. Her car, her jewelry, the furniture, all of it to Carl. To me, she left, and I'm quoting the paper now, my gratitude and my love. My gratitude and my love. I didn't say anything. Carl didn't say anything either at first. He had the decency to look at the floor. Miss Landry, the lawyer, she cleared her throat and she said, gentle as she could, Mr. Fontenot, I have to tell you, this will was drawn up in 2009. Your mother never came back to update it. 2009. That was a full year before the stroke. That was back when Carl was going through his first divorce and his second bankruptcy, when he called Mama crying about losing his house, when she was so worried he'd end up on the street. She wrote that will to protect him, to catch him if he fell. And me? In 2009, I had a steady job and a paid-off truck and a wife and a house. I was fine. I was just Arthur. So she left it all to the boy she was scared for and nothing to the one she wasn't. And then life happened, and I gave her 8 years, and she never once thought to open that drawer and fix the paper. It never crossed her mind. Because she never worried about me. That was the whole problem, my entire life, right there in one legal document. She never worried about me, so she never thought she owed me anything.
Okay, I had to pause and just breathe after this one, because here's what got me. She wasn't even cruel. She just never worried about him. She took his love for granted his whole life because he never made noise about it. And honestly, that might hurt worse than if she'd done it on purpose. So tell me straight, down in the comments, would you have fought that will or walked away like Arthur did? There's no wrong answer here.
I went home. I didn't tell Denise for 2 days. I just sat on the porch in the evenings with the cicadas going and the love bugs hitting the screen, and I turned it over and over. Then, about a week later, I was cleaning out Mama's nightstand because somebody had to, and it sure wasn't going to be Carl. He'd already flown back to Houston. And in the back of the drawer, under her rosary and her old glasses, there was a card. One of them blank ones with a magnolia on the front. And inside, in her shaky handwriting from after the stroke, when it took her 10 minutes to write a sentence, it said, Arthur, I know what you do for me. I know it's you. You were always my strong one. I never worried about you, and I'm sorry for that now. A mother should worry about all her children the same. Forgive me, Mama. She never gave it to me. Never mailed it, never handed it over, just wrote it and put it in the drawer. Maybe she forgot. Maybe she couldn't find the words to say it to my face. I don't know. But she knew. That whole time I thought she looked through me. She saw me. She just couldn't get it into the will. She couldn't get it out of the drawer. I'll be honest with you, that card broke me worse than the will did. The will I could be angry at, a stranger's carelessness on a piece of paper. But that card, that was love that never made it out into the world in time to do me any good. That was my mother knowing exactly what I'd given and dying without ever letting me hear it. I called Carl. I told him about the will being from '09, told him it wasn't right, told him what 8 years costs a man. I even read him the card over the phone. There was a long quiet on the line, and then my brother said, and I'll remember this till I die. He said, Artie, I don't know what you want me to do. She put it in writing. She put it in writing. He kept the house, sold it actually 3 months later to some folks moving in from Baton Rouge. Got a good price. He offered to let me come take some of the furniture before the sale. Whatever you want, brother, for the memories. The furniture. He kept $100,000 in house and land and offered me the sofa. I didn't take the sofa. I took one thing. Her recipe box. That little tin box with the red beans and rice card in it, in her handwriting, splattered with grease, from 40 years of Mondays. Carl said, "Sure, take it. I can't cook anyway," like he was doing me a favor. People ask me if I'm going to fight it, contest the will, and I've thought about it. Miss Landry told me I could challenge it if I wanted to. But I keep thinking about what that would do. 2 brothers, the last of a family, in a courtroom fighting over a dead woman's house. My mama in her grave, watching her 2 boys tear each other apart over what she left behind. I couldn't do that to her, even now, even after all of it. So I let it go. I let Carl have it. And I know some of you listening are yelling at me right now, telling me I'm a fool, that he doesn't deserve it, that I should take what's mine. And maybe you're right. But here's what I've come to understand, sitting on that porch at night. Carl inherited the house and the money, but I'm the one who has the 8 years. I'm the one who knows how she liked her cream of wheat, and which side she slept on, and the sound she made when she laughed near the end, that little wheeze. I'm the one who held her hand when she went. Carl inherited what she owned. I inherited who she was. And I'm not sure in the end that his half is worth more than mine. Denise and me, we're trying again. Went to Grand Isle for a weekend last month. First time we've been anywhere in 8 years. We're learning how to be 2 people again instead of 2 nurses. It's slow, but there's a light coming back. Carl and I don't talk much anymore. He texts on Sundays now, out of habit, I guess. Thinking of you, brother. I usually don't answer. Last week, a check came in the mail from him. $5,000. No note, just the check. I think it's guilt. I think somewhere in that charming head of his, he does the math on 8 years and it keeps him up at night. And $5,000 is what it costs to sleep. It's sitting in my kitchen drawer. I haven't cashed it. I don't know if I will. I drove past the old house last Sunday after Mass. New people got a swing set in the yard now, and they painted the shutters blue. Mama would have hated the blue. I slowed down, but I didn't stop. I just looked at that front window where the hospital bed used to be, where I fed her that last bowl of cream of wheat. And I said out loud, in the truck, by myself, "It's all right, Mama. I forgive you." And I do. God help me, I do. Because here's the thing nobody tells you. Knowing how it ends, knowing about the will, the card, all of it, I'd still do every one of those 8 years over again. Every night in that recliner, every pill in the applesauce. Because that's just Arthur. That's just what I do.
Man, I don't even have a clean ending for this one. Because Arthur didn't get justice, he got peace. And those aren't the same thing, are they? Maybe that's the part that stays with me. Listen, if this story moved you even a little, do me one small favor. Drop a comment, even just one word, and hit that like button. This channel's been going through a rough stretch lately, and honestly, it's you guys showing up that keeps it alive. So thank you, really. And I'll see you in the next one.